But I want to start out by talking about, the whole variety of kind of news stuff today. But I want to start out by talking about right-wing bullying. And I think this is actually a big deal that doesn't get discussed anywhere near enough. There are some kinds of behaviors that essentially have the ability to become contagious. I mean, the one that most people are familiar with is suicides among adolescents. Very often one kid commits suicide in a school, and a month later another one does. It's something that has concerned educators and parents for a long, long time. And I think that bullying falls into that same category. For example, we had a bully for a president for 4 years, Donald Trump. And this is a guy who gets pleasure from bullying people, from stripping power away from people. He's going after, fill in the blanks, right? E. Jean Carroll and everybody else. And, bullies just delight in this. I mean, this is the sort of thing that they are just totally into. And it's a problem for America right now because presidents tend to establish national norms. And I don't know if we can go to camera one, Nate. John Kennedy, for example, established like this kind of optimistic national norm. And I mean, people even imitated his hairstyle, right? If you're old enough to remember JFK. Jimmy Carter made it fashionable to be a thoughtful, compassionate Christian and an energy geek. He was a nuclear scientist, literally. Jimmy Carter was a nuclear scientist. Bill Clinton turned us all into policy wonks. George W. Bush transformed himself from, an AWOL draft dodger into a warrior, bringing the country along. And Barack Obama established this tone of thoughtful, elegant inclusion and diversity that was celebrated around the world. At every step, and you can find this as you go throughout history, presidents, as kind of the father or mother, well, we haven't had a female president yet, but as the parent figure for the country, tend to establish the tone and style. And so then we get a bully. And now we've discovered what happens when you have a bully as president of the United States. And, just to put it in a very straightforward fashion, Trump, within months of Trump being elected, we were seeing studies showing that bullying in schools was going up. Right? I mean, and then, excuse me, I just had a computer weirdness here. And then you had bullies like Mitch McConnell come out. This is a direct quote from Mitch McConnell. Quote, "One of the proudest moments in my life was when I looked Barack Obama in the eye and I said, Mr. President, you will not fill that Supreme Court vacancy." Really? I mean, this is what we're seeing in this whole spectrum of bullies, the whole Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz bullies. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene bullying AOC and other members of the Democratic caucus. You've got these Karens, male and female, or Karens and Kens, or whatever the male term is, around the country, finding new validation during the Trump administration in their efforts to bully, in particular, people of color. Trump's bullying use of the phrase China virus has led to a wave of actual violence against Asian Americans, AAPI Americans. And now trans children are on the receiving end of Republican bullying. And those people with bullying tendencies, in fact, were even drawn to January 6th, right? The guys who love guns and bullying. I mean, the ultimate bullying event, arguably, was January 6th, when they showed up at the U.S. Capitol and tried to bully us into keeping Donald Trump as president. And, one of the things that I really celebrate about President Joe Biden is that he doesn't seem to have a bullying bone in his body. He's a thoughtful, compassionate, considerate guy. So what do you do with these Republican bullies? one piece of conventional wisdom, what do you do to a bully? You punch him. In other words, kind of fight back or become a bully yourself. I think, though, that a better way of defining how you deal with bullies, particularly when you have power, is through something in childcare referred to as logical consequences, or limit setting. It's basically you say, okay, I get it, you're foaming at the mouth. Here's the limit. When you step over this line, there will be consequences. And this appears to be the biggest challenge of the Biden administration, is establishing these limits. And particularly problematic is apparently the Justice Department is still filled with bullies that Donald Trump put there, or at least that Bill Barr put there. I mean, just consider this. The Justice Department just announced this, was in yesterday's Washington Post. This is the headline. I mean, the headline kind of says it all. Justice Department says it will vigorously, in quotes, vigorously defend religious schools' exemption from anti-LGBTQ discrimination laws. In other words, religious schools are saying, because our 3,000-year-old book, our interpretation of that book says that you shouldn't be gay or, trans or anything else. Therefore, they're saying, we can discriminate against such folks. That's our religion. And we're talking about actual federal dollars. This is schools that are taking your tax dollars, saying that they have the religious right to discriminate with your tax dollars. And the Justice Department just announced yesterday, we are going to vigorously defend that right. What the hell? And then, 3 days ago, they came out and said, Donald Trump, being accused of rape by E. Jean Carroll, and his defense was, she's not my type, I wouldn't bother raping her. I mean, it literally was his defense. He called her a liar, so she sued him for defamation for his calling her a liar, and now the Justice Department is saying, we're going to defend Trump, too. What the hell? And then Bill Barr bullies Congress, saying, well, Robert Mueller put together this report and designed it to be made public, right? I mean, Justice Department lawyers on the Mueller team just combed through that thing before they gave it to Bill Barr to make sure that everything in it could be made public. There was no classified information in it. And what does Bill Barr do? He just redacts the hell out of it. Have you seen an unredacted version yet? No, neither have I. Why? Well, it's going to reflect very poorly on Trump. When Merrick Garland came in as the head of the Justice Department had been wiretapping reporters. They kept doing it. And now down in Arizona, and it looks like it's going to spread to Pennsylvania and Georgia someday soon, you've got Republicans who are being financed with dark money, I'll get to that in a minute, who are continuing to violate federal law. I mean, this is a law that you go to prison for. You're not supposed to, states are not supposed to hand ballots to anybody who's not authorized within 22 months of an election. And yet they're doing it. I mean, Chuck Schumer is letting himself get bullied by Republicans, well, Biden for that matter. I mean, they've spent months negotiating with Republicans on this infrastructure bill. When, Mitch McConnell told him at the very beginning, no way, no Republican's ever going to vote for it. They finally said, okay, Shelley Moore Capito, yesterday, she's not negotiating in good faith, so let's negotiate with another Republican. Come on, guys. Have the bullies won? I mean, how do you deal with bullies? And then the carrots and sticks that now we are finding out the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the Koch network are pouring carrots on Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin and probably other Democratic senators, as well as the stick of, we will run ads against you. No carrots and sticks, apparently, from the administration.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
I mean, we have to ask, have the bullies won, or is Biden going to finally start imposing limits and logical consequences on this behavior?